Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Night. I am your host, the one, the only Ian Hunter. Joining me is the man who knows every song I've ever heard of, Matt Catrillo. Matt, that is an interesting tie you got on tonight.
Well, it's just something different. You got to be different every once in a while.
Well, you are certainly different, Matt Catrillo. You are certainly different. Moving on, the baseball team continues to struggle. Matt, now 1-27 on the year. Their batting average is .206. Their ERA is 11.33. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say about this team. The 1-27 mark speaks for itself. The batting average, the team ERA, and the way the games have gone this year. They're only down 1-0 in their first game against IUP this weekend, first of two doubleheaders, and then IUP scores 7 runs. Next game, they're tied at 1. IUP scores 3 runs in the second inning, and then a 4-1 third inning. And they win that game 14-1. So there's really not much else to say about this team except it's been an atrocious year.
They had 6 games this past week. One was against Point Park. The other 4 against IUP. Against Point Park, they scored only 2 runs the entire time. Point Park had a win of 6-0, 14-2. IUP had a win of 14-10, 10-0, 10-0, and 12-2. That's we thought that this pitching was going to get better and that the defense was going to get better. It's certainly hasn't.
No, it hasn't, and I guess there's really not much else to say. I'm not sure what has happened, what's transpired this season, and why it just hasn't picked up. I think the one difficult thing, Ian, for this team that they've suffered through this year is they haven't played a home game yet.
No.
They've been the home team in some of their away games like they were this weekend at IUP. That was supposed to be here at home, and because the field is not in such great condition, hasn't been all year because of the weather,
the field at this point has been so beat up that it's probably just as bad as the baseball team has been.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because that's something that they can't control.
No, that's a lot of things the baseball team can control, but playing on the home field,
exactly,
not something they can control right now. It's been really bad. Again, when you have losses, there's only one time during a week that you allow under 10 runs. That's not good. It means your pitching, your defense has just not been up to par.
No, exactly.
And defense has just been clearly an issue. Moving on now, the softball team. They're 3-13, also continue to struggle, have not had a PSAC win to mark yet this season. They started off hot. Last week, they had losses of 14-0, 6-4, 4-3, and 5-2. Yes, they're a little bit closer than the baseball team, Matt, but they also have been struggling in the pitching mound.
Well, exactly. Well, as a team also, Ian, when you're 1-8 in games that are 2 runs or less, you're not going to win very many ball games, and you saw that this weekend in their doubleheader sweep against East Stroudsburg. That was a score of 4-3 in Game 1 and 5-2 in Game 2. You got to be able to win those ball games, and it comes down to pitching, which has not shown up.
Now, I know they've had some injuries in their pitching staff, but a team that their batting average was through the roof to start this season, and now Amanda Goff is really the only one with any sort of success at the plate.
Of course, and she had a big weekend against East Stroudsburg, Ian, 4 hits and 5 RBIs. She's clearly been the anchor of this lineup the entire season.
I'm not even sure if anchor is the correct term. She's the one trying to pull them out of the cellar, and she can't quite do it by herself.
She's doing a lot of work.
She's doing everything that she can. She's playing very, very well at that shortstop position. Hopefully, the team will at least be able to get a conference win. The baseball team at least has a conference win this year.
Exactly.
Hopefully the softball team.
And the softball team hasn't won a conference game, not just this year, but in 2 years. The 2-year mark passed, I think, last week.
Yeah, you know what? It was 2 years ago that I remember we were celebrating them winning their first conference win in a number of years. So this is not a new thing for the softball team to go winless in conference play.
Unfortunately, no.
So hopefully they'll be able to turn that around, but they're running out of time to do that. Moving on now, the golf team finished last. This is the men's golf team. They finished dead last in their tournament last week. It ended last Monday, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But, Matt, they ended the tournament plus 117. The winner was Millersville, They ended up plus 42. So I'm not a big golf guy, but I know you're supposed to be under par, not over par, and 117 with a plus sign beside it is not good.
Yeah, I don't know too much about golf, Ian, and that just explains for my personal game itself. But yeah, that's not good. And they don't even have.
There's a reason I don't play golf, Matt.
Well, I do, but again, it's an attempt. That's why that's a big word there. But they didn't even have two guys finish in the top 15. Not anybody in the top 10. They have 2 guys in the top 20, and that was it. Adam Harrington, 14, and Dylan Get my running here. Dylan Kringle finishing 19th. And both not good scores either, 187, 184. So it's been a tough year again for the golf team.
Yeah, it's been. We weren't like you never really expect them to win every tournament, but you're expecting them at least to be in tournaments. They have not done well this year, but they haven't been that bad. That's finishing dead last with a plus 117. It's bad news. Let's move on now to the women's golf team. They finished at least 6th out of 8 teams. Cal won the tournament with a score of 639. Clarion was 6th with 718, so that's a clear margin of victory for Cal U. This, again, more struggles for the spring season, Matt. It hasn't been a whole lot of good stuff to talk about.
No, not at all, Ian. And this past weekend, you had, again, only 2 players finishing in the top 20. Same struggles for both teams.
It's been, it's hard to see what's going on. There's teams that, maybe it's just they haven't been playing all that much. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, the weather really hasn't been a huge cooperation with the spring sports, not just with Clarion, but in general. So, but in terms of Clarion sports, you can say it's somewhat of a factor, but obviously not the entire issue.
All right, so why don't you say we move on here and talk about something positive?
Yeah, let's do that.
Track team did really, really well.
Yes, they did.
Rock, so why don't you start talking about that a little bit, Matt?
Well, first you have Anna Finksler, finished 2nd in the 100 meter at a 12:35 timing. That's a PSAC qualifier, so that's good number 1. Good number 2, it's a new Clarion record. What she broke, it was her own record. It was a 12:49 that she set in 2011.
Too bad it came in a second place effort too. She just barely lost that event.
She just barely missed, but still, definitely well done for Anna. And then Kristen Belko finishing at 15.3 for the 100 meter hurdle. Megan Toddy finishing in 19.8 in the 5,000 meter race. And Allison Kress had a throw in the discus of 39.56. Those last 2 were all PSAC qualifiers with Kress and Toddy. So well accomplished weekend.
The only thing that's unfortunate is I don't think this was a scored event again. So that means the track team is putting good performances together in non-scored tournaments, which doesn't make
I don't think
any
this was
sense.
a scored event. Yeah, I don't understand that.
How do you have an event that's not scored? How do you have a non-winner? If all these players are, all these athletes are coming together, how do you not have a winner? It's sports, for crying out loud. How do you not have a winner?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, Matt, we're going to send it to our first commercial break. Coming up next, we're going to play What's the Word? Keep it right here. You're watching Sports Night.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Longing for a unique taste and a relaxed atmosphere? Look no further than 6th and Main Marketplace in downtown Clarion. With a menu to satisfy a chic palate, 6th and Main has a taste of the Strip District without the long trip home. Accompanying the food is a complement of gourmet sodas and ice creams, a fully stocked deli, delicious breads, and delectable desserts. 6th and Main offers dine-in service with a relaxed atmosphere, which will leave a distinct impression.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you were really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
Hello, welcome back to Sports Night. Matt, it's time to play What's the Word? I know that we usually play buy or sell here, but hey, we're going to change some things up. I have a special Block 3 planned. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
I know you're excited. You're smiling, which is cool. You have that weird, creepy Catrillo smile going on right now, and it's freaking me out. So why don't we play What's the Word?
Let's do it.
All right. Drew Pinareno of the baseball team has been blank on the baseball team this year.
He's been lonely, Ian, and that's because he is the only player in the lineup that's over 300. He has a .318 batting average with 6 RBIs. And you have other guys that are doing well, like Hassett and Nick Mascari, but their averages are below 300. So
And like 247 is the next highest.
yeah, exactly. And that doesn't get much better from there. So he's lonely, Ian.
That's a good one. That one's pretty
Thank you.
good. I like
Thank
that
you.
one. I'm going to say he's been the silver lining for this baseball team. As you said, batting .318, 6 RBIs. I know the 6 RBI number is not really that great, but when you're the only guy getting on base and no one else is, how are you supposed to get RBIs?
Exactly. You can't score runs in baseball if you don't have guys on base.
You can't score runs. You know, again, most of these guys are not getting walked. So what are you going to do? He's
Exactly.
doing everything that he possibly can, batting .318. That's as good as I think the Clarion coaching staff can say.
Exactly.
.318. I think they'll take that every time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on now. What's the word? Baseball ERA of 11.33 is a blank.
Is a massacre. And it speaks for itself right there, Ian. 11.33. And also, when you only have 3 guys with ERAs under 10, with at least 20 or 15 innings pitched, that's pretty bad. And they only have 3 guys that have done that. The lowest ERA is Tyler Delval at 5.21 ERA.
By the
So
way,
obviously that's not very good.
most pitchers in the major league, if they have a 5 ERA,
You're gone.
They're going down to the minors.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go with a head shaker because at 11.33, it's just that. As a manager, you have to be just literally shaking your head because what do you say? As a coaching staff, what do you say? All right, guys, we're going to try to paint the corners. Oh, wait, they're hitting that? Okay, let's try to go after batters. Okay, well, they're hitting that, or we're hitting batters, we're walking batters. There's nothing this pitching staff can do right now. Nothing.
Yeah, and like I said, everything speaks for itself. When your ERA, your lowest ERA rather is at 5, and you only have 3 guys that have pitched more than 15 innings, and only 3 of them are below 10. Yeah, you got some problems.
Because apparently the other teams, all they're seeing is beach balls whenever Clarion's pitching right now. With 11, look at the scores from this past weekend just for any more evidence. 14 runs, 10 runs, 10 runs, 12 runs, 14 runs, 6 runs. That's a lot of runs. That's a lot of runs, Matt. That's a lot of runs.
It is.
Let's go on to something positive again.
Let's do it.
Amanda Goff's batting average of .457 is what?
This maybe is a little bit of a pun, but I like it anyway, and that's Goff-tastic. She is Goff-tastic. She had, like I said in the last block, 4 hits, 5 RBIs, been the anchor of this lineup. She's been sensational in the field also. So, yeah, she's Goff-tastic.
I'm going to say she's the Goffinator.
I like it.
She's been awesome.
I like that.
She's been great. Again, batting .457 with all those. That's a lot of hits. Not 6 RBIs, but she has a home run. She's been all over the place. 7 doubles for this year. She's been absolutely on fire.
Exactly. She's a reason why for the majority of the runs.
She is, and it's been again Golf-tastic, Golfinator. What else can we think of here?
Goffalicious.
All right, we're going to move on now. The tennis team's chances of turning their season around are blank.
They're slim, Ian, only because they're 3-7.
You give me all those great answers, and your final one is slim.
Oh, 4 for 5. What am I? 3 for 4. That's not bad. I'm batting .750.
We're not playing baseball here. I'm looking at completion percentage.
I got to talk about some good baseball, Ian, and well, never mind. I'm not going there.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, slim. They got 2 games to go. Tough competition, Slippery Rock, and I'm not sure about the other team, but
It was West Virginia State.
I think it's West
today.
Virginia. Yeah, it was today. Yeah, Slippery Rock is next, but a couple tough opponents.
I'm going to go with non-existent, just because there's just not enough time. It's unfortunate, but there's just not enough time for them to mount a serious comeback in their season. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. They haven't played well since their coaching change. They haven't played well at all this semester. A lot of it, they've had matches postponed. They've had all these things happen.
It's been an inconsistent schedule.
Yeah, and that can go for, honestly, baseball and softball as well. But an inconsistent schedule means that you can't get any fluency in your game. It's going to be hard to do anything.
Exactly, but at least they've been able to play some home games,
This is
unlike
true.
the
They had a
baseball
home
team.
game. Yeah, they had a home match today. Still not sure of the score of that. I was still waiting to hear back, so we will talk about that at least next week on Sports Night.
That's right. I think so. Hopefully they got the win today.
Hey, that'd be nice to see. Well, again, we'll talk about that. If you catch the news tomorrow, I'm sure Bree will be talking about that. Now, We're going to send to our next commercial break. Coming up next,
Oh, yes.
we are going to have the Sports Night Award nominations. Yes, in 3 weeks, on our final episode, we will give out the Sports Night Awards, highlighting the best and the worst of Clarion Athletics this year. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Catrillo and I are going to start with the nominations for the team category coming up next. So stay tuned. You're watching Sports Night.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The party's happening at Clarion's newest venue, Wasteland Live, off of East Main Street, Clarion. They have it all from live bands to drinks and food. With most nights not requiring a cover, drink specials are always a deal. Entertainment abounds with live band karaoke, 2 pool tables, a large dance floor, and more. The atmosphere is just as bold as the acts on stage and the dancers on the floor. If you're looking for a good time, it's gotta be Wasteland Live.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Hello and welcome back to Sports Night. I did forget to mention this earlier. If anyone is upset that Change Your Tune is not on right now, I'm sorry that's all right. No one is watching that anyway. Just kidding, Mike. Just kidding. You're sick. Be back next week. I think he's just mad that I won on there last week.
Yeah, he could be.
I think that's the only reason. All right, Matt, it's time for the Sports Night Award
Let's do it.
nominations. Again, the awards, actual ceremony, will be here in a couple weeks. That'll be our finale. That'll be our final episode. So we're going to start with the nominations tonight. This is the team category. Matt, worst team game. What are your nominations?
My nomination for worst team game goes to the men's basketball team when they lost at the buzzer to a Division II school, La Roche. Division III. We're Division II. Division III school, La Roche. I called that game on the radio, and that was very heartbreaking for me to call.
TV,
yeah,
so
yeah, I know
I
you
know
called
what
it for us on CUTV. So heartbreaking game, and that started the Golden Eagles on an 0-2 start to two Division III teams.
They lost to Houghton the night before.
Right.
A couple nights before.
So
that was
0-3,
also
excuse me, 0-3. So it wasn't a good start for the Golden Eagles, and which ended up being not so good season.
All right. My nomination is baseball versus IUP, where they lost 22-5.
I had a feeling you were going to pick that game.
That is an awful.
It was
again,
in my
these
mind,
awards are
too.
for everyone.
Right.
There's, we are celebrating the best and the worst of Clarion Athletics. So yes, 22-5, and I also had on here basketball versus La Roche. Honorable mention is football versus IUP, where they lost 35-0.
Yeah, I would put that game up there too.
So we're again. Doesn't have to do just one nomination. You can have multiple nominations, Matt. So, like to have some diversity in our field here. Let's move on to best team performance. What is your nomination?
Well, best team performance, hands down, is the football team's big win over East
Strasburg. I knew you were going to say this.
Travis Day scoring the game-winning touchdown from 3 yards out. Just a great game, a great win for Clarion at the time to kind of get things going. East Strasburg was a very good offensive team on PSAC East School. I got to play him again next year out east at East Stroudsburg, so really enjoyed that game for sure.
My nomination will be, I have two nominations.
Okay.
Basketball versus Mercy, or men's basketball versus Mercyhurst, where they just went off and they were every. Marcus Jones was just lights out.
Exactly.
24 points, 26 points, 8 3-pointers.
That's right.
Was absolutely awesome. My second nomination for best team performance, best team win is baseball versus Slippery Rock.
There we go.
One win of the season. They won 2-1 against a better team. The pitching, the hitting, the defense all came together. I think baseball versus Slippery Rock is a very strong contender, and I also had football versus East Stroudsburg.
Okay, yeah, I like that too. You might as well put the only win for baseball in there because it was a solid win.
It was a solid win. It was a great win, and it's one of those things where when these guys look back on this season, they will say, you know what, we did not have a good season, but you know what, we had one game where we played as good as we possibly could have, and we won.
Exactly.
So at least it's something they can look back on and say, you know what, we had that one game where we shined. We were great.
Exactly.
They were absolutely fantastic in that game. Moving on now, Matt, time for our Coach of the Year.
And let's see, and this might be a little bit underrated, but maybe not so much. And I have the track and field coach, DJ Pavino. I think he's done a tremendous job with this program. The track and field program is always very consistent. We just mentioned in a couple blocks ago of how great all the individuals have been doing. And this is a young team, Ian, too. A lot of good youth talent, and that goes to the head coach. So my tip my cap to DJ Pavino.
You're literally going to take your hands off, too.
Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah.
Oh, good. I have two nominations. I have Coach Jennifer Mills from the volleyball team. Again,
absolutely.
24-12 this season for the volleyball team. Another fantastic season. Not as much talent on that volleyball team as there has been in years previous, but it's still got a lot of wins. That program's only going to continue to grow. And I also have soccer coach Rob Eaton, who that team was poised to do things this year if they didn't set a record for most ACL tears in one season.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunate as that sounds.
So, Coach Eaton's done such a great job of recruiting, building this team into what they are right now, which they contend in almost every game that they're in. They had a couple games where they didn't. But that's going to be a team that is going to have to be reckoned with in the future if Coach Eaton stays long term.
Oh, no doubt about it. As we've seen in talking with the team and with Coach Eaton, that he has such great leadership with the girls, and the girls really adore him as a coach. So as long as they can keep everything together, keep the injuries down, no more ACL tears next year, this team could be some.
A lot of young talent. And our good surprise team this year, Matt, go. What's your nomination?
My surprise team is actually the women's basketball team. Despite them having a losing season and despite all the on and off-court adversity, they still made the playoffs for the first time since 2009. And at the beginning of the preseason, we really weren't sure, considering all the youth that Coach Parsons brought in this year, how it was all going to come together. And it was Hannah Heater's second year also. We're trying to see how she would adapt, especially starting late after volleyball's playoff run again this year. And everything came together at the right time. And they were able to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they had an early playoff exit, but you know what? They still got there for the first time in a couple of years. So I actually give it to the women's basketball team.
I went with the football team. And I know they didn't have the best record, but they did things that we weren't expecting.
That is
true. Which is why they're the surprise team of the year. And we're running out of time, so surprise team bad. Go, Catrillo.
Surprise team bad is the other basketball team, the men's basketball team. After a 6-20 season, first time in decades that they've had a 20-loss season here in Clarion. And this was a team I thought that would be able to put it together, brought a lot of talent in, guys like Aaron Johnson, Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones was inconsistent. Aaron Johnson came in a little too late, but that was a couple of off-the-court issues. But nothing really came together at the right time for this team. But I think maybe next year, now that they've taken a year, that's also a young team also, then they'll be a little bit better in the open court next year.
I went with the soccer team just because it was a terrible surprise that they didn't do anything, and that was just, a lot of those injuries just had so much to blame for that. And then I went for the women's basketball team for worst surpce, just because
we're opposite ends here.
Yeah,
but I understand what you're saying.
Just a team that just so many off the court problems that really forced them to not play as well as they could have. And then finally, team of the year. Who was your nomination?
Team of the year. I'm going to give it to the volleyball team simply because, as you said, Ian, 24-12 record, another great playoff run. Suffered through a lot of adversity also, as you said, not as much talent as we've seen in the past. But you know what? They rallied together at the right time. Again, that gives to Jennifer Mills, the head coach, how she got them together at the right time. They made another great playoff run.
I also went with the volleyball team, but let's throw some other ones in there as well. How about the women's swimming and diving team?
Oh,
they were
absolutely
tremendous. The men's swimming and diving team also in that conversation. Let's see.
What throw track and field in there too.
Track and field you can throw in there. Some of the the non-marquee programs you can throw in there. So obviously team of the year. Those are all viable candidates. I'm going to say that volleyball is probably going to be one of the leading contenders for that.
I would agree with that
because they were really the only team out of the the group to make the playoffs.
They did.
So
right.
that's the they didn't do great in those playoffs, but they still went
got
to
there.
the playoffs. And that's, hey, right now after the season that Clarion Sports has suffered,
Yeah. Just getting there is
get there.
is
You
a
got to
major
knock down the
milestone.
door. So for a team that's been consistently in the playoffs, I think they'd be okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to send it to our next commercial break. Coming up next, we're going to give you our final round. Keep it right here. You're watching Sports Night.
One of the best deals in town is now even better with your My Sheets card. From food to gas, you save on nearly everything at Sheets, and the deals don't stop there. Go online and find a full complement to the My Sheets card where you can get access to exclusive deals that are redeemable at all Sheets locations. Sign up is quick and easy, and the card also allows you to pay after you pump. Don't delay, head to the Clarion Sheets on East Main Street and get your My Sheets card today.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Clean kitchen surfaces, utensils, and hands with soapy water. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
And welcome back to Sports Night. Matt, time for the final round. The softball team has Lock Haven, Mercyhurst, and Slippery Rock this week. What can we look forward to when we're watching these games?
We can look forward to Amanda Goff being Goff-tastic because that's how she's been all year. I think, though, we're going to get swept by Lock Haven. I think we split at Mercyhurst and Slippery Rock, and Mansfield will sweep Clarion.
No faith. No faith. I think they win a couple of these games. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Amanda Goff, the Goffinator, which we're going to have to make T-shirts that say Goffinator on it and go to these games. I'm excited now.
Yes.
Hopefully Amanda's watching right now because the Goffinator, I like it. I think we can look forward. I think you're going to have a couple wins this week. I know I say that every week, but one of these weeks it actually has to happen.
Okay.
It actually has to happen one of these weeks. Now, the baseball team, they're probably going to struggle, but they play Mercyhurst and Point Park. Are you going to go down and watch?
As long as the weather cooperates, yeah, I'd love to go down and see it. I think the weather is looking good. I think it's a little on the chilly side again. It seems like Mother Nature likes to warm up during the school week when everyone's in class, and then when everybody's out of class for the weekend.
That's just
she likes
Clarion,
to
I
go
promise
cool.
you.
Oh, maybe, okay.
My roommate told me this morning that there was a 0% chance of rain. You know what happened? I walked outside.
It was raining.
It started sprinkling.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
There is no such thing as a correct weather pattern in Clarion.
That is true.
It just doesn't happen. Now, both golf teams are in action. What should we be looking forward to?
I want to see some guys and gals in the top 10. You know, we talked about that in the last segment, Ian, how we haven't had anybody in there this year. The golf team finishing last, the men's team finishing last, women's team 6 of 8. So let's get some individuals in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, you know, if team-wise hasn't been doing all that great, let's get some guys in the top 10. How about what I'm watching out for is one of these teams has got to get above that mid-mark, right?
Exactly. Somebody's got
average, right?
Somebody's got to step it up.
I hope so. I'm getting tired of talking about teams not doing well.
I know. Me
It's
too.
not fun.
Me too.
And finally, the tennis team goes to Slippery Rock this week. Can they turn it around at least individually?
I think they can. I mean, before their match here today, this morning with West Virginia State, they were shut out by IUP, and then they had 2 matches postponed due to the weather. So they've had some time to get over that match and to start getting ready. And I'm sure they're very anxious to get back on the court and try and get a W. So, yeah, I think they can turn it around, absolutely.
I think they can, too. I would like them to see that. Would like to clear up something from a little bit earlier. I said Houghton beat Clarion. It was actually Teal that beat Clarion. And IUP beat Clarion 45-0.
That was in football, right?
In football, not 35-0, so oops.
Yeah.
My bad. It happens.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, that's all the time we have here for Sports Night this week. Make sure you stay tuned for all of your CUTV programming here at Clarion University. For Matt Catrillo, Frank Lemon, who's upstairs, and everyone who's working crew for today's show, I'm Ian Hunter. We'll see you next time.